I will stop on the side when I get a chance to.
Yeah, we are live.
Let's just wait for a few minutes, see how many students are joining. I'll just send the link on the groups again. Great. So I've sent in the messages. I am currently not in the best, most ideal place to be taking a YouTube live, so I will just take a few seconds and leave it to the recent champions of CET and JBIMS. Give me 1 second. I'll stop on the side. No one called the police when I'm doing this. So they are. But anyway, I'm on the side now. But hey guys, welcome to the Top Percentile. This is our usual way of doing lives these days, and this is one of the most. I think this is the best way to kind of connect with students of JBMS and to interact with them. And we have 4 students this time, so it's a really interesting panel. We have 3 of them who've already been on our channel, who've taken these lives in the past, who are really good who are really good to provide guidance. And this time we have Jayesh as well. The full jam-packed 4 races in the house. I'll let them introduce themselves first. We already heard from the 3. So Jayesh, why don't you introduce yourself? How it was to get into JBIMS? कैसा लगा था जब पहले रिजल्ट आके अच्छा लगा? मतलब कैसा लगा था? Obviously अच्छा ही लगा था. How was the feeling and क्या story था तुम्हारा?
तो
Yeah.
जब मैंने देखा था पहले बार, जब रिजल्ट आया था, आई स्टिल रिमेम्बर इट दैट इट वाज 3 जून 2023। एंड पहले तो बिलीव ही नहीं हो रहा था कि 99.90 जो भी नंबर था। तो मैं फिर मैंने मेरे फ्रेंड को भेजा कि एक बार देख लेना 99.90 है कि 99.09 है। तो इट वाज अ रियल एक्सपीरियंस एंड वन ऑफ द बेस्ट डेज ऑफ माय लाइफ। आई डोंट थिंक सो आई एम गोइंग टू फॉरगेट 3 जून 2023 है वो। तो काफी अच्छा था जब मैंने वो रिजल्ट देखा था।
नहीं, that is amazing. Was this your first attempt by the way? पहली बार था ये कौन सा attempt था ये तुम्हारा CET का?
ये मेरा थर्ड अटेम्प्ट था।
Third attempt. So I think Shubham,
Yes.
तुम्हारा I don't remember. I know Jaydeep and Prasad का third था.
Yeah, it was my third attempt as well.
Third attempt. क्या बात है? Third time the charm. क्या बात है? Even Shivali I think was the last live में जो थी. She was also third attempt. सब लोग experience CET takers हैं. मतलब at this point you guys have a lot more experience than I do as well. This is great. We have a full, again, as I said, a very good panel. I'll let the 3 of you introduce yourself again. Just very short. Shubham, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so hello everyone. My name is Shubham Mali. I have completed my electronics engineering. Then I worked for around 2 years in Accenture. Post that, I gave CET. I have attempted CET thrice. In my first attempt, I scored around 99.98. Sorry, 98.98. Then in my second attempt, I scored 99.68. And in my final attempt, I scored 99.86. So yeah, this was about me.
First attempt में 99.98 आ जाता तो फिर काफी अलग तबीयत थी, but it's like this is,
Yeah.
you made it over time, so that's what matters the most. Just a sec. I'm not sure if you can hear. Hear me correctly. I'm having a few issues technical, but Jaydeep, I'll let you take the next one.
Yeah, sure. So again, it's my third attempt as well. In the last attempt, I scored 99.88 percentile. And in the first attempt, I had 93 percentile. And then I decided that I need to, gear up my preparation. So in second attempt, I had 99.36 percentile. So there was small amount of efforts that I thought that I need to put in. And then I attempted the CET with my full-time preparation. And I had the final score here. 99.881.
Perfect. And then there is Prasad, who had just missed out in the second attempt by a little bit. So Prasad, all yours.
Yeah, so even I have given CET 3 times. So in the first attempt, I got 98.64. Then for second attempt, I left my job at Atos Dental, where I was working as an associate consultant. Then worked full time for second attempt, but missed out on JBMS by around 4 ranks, I would say. So gave again in the third attempt and scored 99.94 and then joined JBIMS.
Nice. Perfect. So, well, 17 days are left, 17 days to go for CET. I really want to understand from each one of you how you kind of managed the last 2.5 weeks, because it's like everyone has a question of how many mocks to take, कि अभी revise कैसे करे, कैसे जाए, how to. Means there are lots of students who reach out on a daily basis asking, यार मेरा quants अभी भी weak है, verbal में score नहीं आ रहा है, तो अभी does it make sense to kind of continue preparation? Should you stop over there, go back to chapters? What is the general idea over here? I'm sure these are the questions that are going to come across. And at the same time, I think what is really important is if you guys could give some kind of motivation and some story of yours that was really helpful in the last 3 weeks. जो हर दिन उठ के motivation मिल रहा था आपको कि कैसे crack करे CET, especially after going through it again and again. कि you've been through it thrice. Third time to have that same motivation is very difficult. कि इस बार होने वाला है, right? So let's keep it a bit informal. It'll be really nice if we get motivation and stories from you guys this time. And just one thing I saw a question over there: is JBIMS possible in the first attempt? So to that again, I had attempted JBIMS in the first. I had cracked it in the first attempt as well. I think I got very lucky that year with how things were and how the exam played out. I didn't have surprises. In saalon mein, there was a lot more that happened. The last two attempts have honestly been. No one could predict how those papers are going and how you could really play a game to the best of that part. And they've succeeded in like more unpredictable environments, with CT being delayed, with paper patterns being jumbled, with sectionals coming randomly. जो मेरे time पे नहीं था. So to be very honest, now knowing that this is possible in CET, the third time, like after this is the third paper where maybe there's a jumble pattern or sectional, etc., things changing. Now I think first attempts are definitely possible. The first two were still tougher, but there are people who've made it. So nothing like that. It's always possible. It depends on how you are preparing. It just depends solely on that. So that's my take on this. But I'll leave it to the four of you to kind of take this forward and to go ahead. I'll be around. I'll be there to answer a few questions here and there, but they'll be the lead on this. So all yours to take forward. Thank you so much for doing this again. And yeah, ask them any questions that you want. Ask them what you want to ask. They'll be more than happy to guide you. Yeah, perfect.
So, talking about my 15 days, 15 to 1 month का period, right? So, actually, वो time पे तो like I'm telling, मेरा तो stress ही था time, the way I was preparing, because at that time score काफी fluctuate होता था. And fluctuation, it was not like paper हर mock over the period tough हो जाते थे, और maybe like जो quantum रहता था, this way I can improve on the scores. तो एक वो stagnant level आ गया था कि this is the benchmark that अभी इसके ऊपर ज्यादा improve हो नहीं रहा. So वो phase काफी tough था for me personally. Like others can comment here, like what were their experiences.
आई थिंक स्कोर के फ्लक्चुएशंस तो काफी नॉर्मल चीज है. इवन इन द लास्ट फेज, इवन इन द स्टार्टिंग फेज, इट डजंट मैटर. बट आई थिंक what you should focus on is how good you have prepared so far for the CET and how good you with your basics. So if you are confident that you have done well enough with the preparation in the past, whatever months you have prepared for, and you're good with the basics, so आई वुड से कि वो रिजल्ट अपने आप दिख जाएगा सीईटी में. सो आई वुड से कि एक दो स्कोर के फ्लक्चुएशंस इधर उधर हो सकते हैं, बट व्हाट यू शुड फोकस ऑन इज योर लॉन्ग टर्म स्ट्रेटेजीज दैट यू अडॉप्टेड सो फार, and I think it will definitely pay out on the D-Day itself.
Yeah, so again to add, I'll say that yeah, the scores will fluctuate. I had also said in one of my earlier session that I had scored around 100 in one of the final weeks while giving the CET. So it might happen that you will feel low, but what you have to believe is whatever the hard work you have put in till now, you have to like be confident on it and go and prepare well. Also have a schedule which is very like not heavy for you. You have your like stress under control and you have to manage all the things. Yeah, so that's it.
So apart from this, I believe in this last phase of 15 days, one must now start focusing on the revision part. So whatever the things that you have learned, for example, the cons formula sheet that might have made, all the other conceptual things that you have created till now, you must start revising it. Because when we just keep on solving, we start forgetting the concepts or the key learnings that we have learned from the past questions. So in the next 15 days, I will recommend to start revising your concepts, whether it be vocabs or grammar rules or cons formulas. Start revising them. And apart from that, I don't know whether the admit card is out or not. So if the admit card is out, then you must give a mock in the time slot that you're going to take the exam. For example, if you're in the morning slot, then you must take mock in the morning that time slot, because you need to ensure that your brain is functioning in that time slot. For example, usually in the afternoon slot, we are a bit sluggish or lazy. So if you have an afternoon slot, then start giving mock during that phase, so that you get used to, your brain gets used to working in that time slot.
टोटली एग्री विथ योर पॉइंट जयेश, बट अभी यहाँ पे काफी क्वेश्चन ऐसे भी ऑन दिस लाइन्स है कि लाइक इफ आई शुड स्टार्ट विद दिस टॉपिक और दैट टॉपिक, सो माय रिकमेंडेशन लाइक लास्ट थोड़े दिन में यू शुड नॉट स्टार्ट समथिंग एंटायरली न्यू. तुमने जो अभी तक किया है सो दैट शुड बी योर लाइक फोर्टे, तुम्हारा वहाँ पे फाउंडेशन क्लियर हो जाना चाहिए. सो इफ यू फील दैट कहीं पे तुम्हारा फाउंडेशन वीक है, कोई कंसेप्ट तुम्हें वापस रिवाइज करने, सो दैट शुड बी प्रायोरिटाइज ओवर स्टार्टिंग समथिंग एंटायरली न्यू जो मतलब अभी तक किया नहीं है. बिकॉज मे बी लाइक वहां से तुम्हें स्कोर उतना मैक्सिमाइजेशन करना डिफिकल्ट हो जाएगा इन मॉक्स, rather compared to the topics we are already comfortable with, the questions you are already solved. So maybe like prioritize topics which are you have already seen rather than starting something new.
I guess someone is asking कि accuracy कैसे increase करे. So accuracy, what you will have to do is you'll have to like practice a lot. Um, you'll have to check if whatever solution that you are preparing or what the way in which you are solving, you are not doing the silly mistakes. Like most of the time, what happens is that you know how to solve the question, but in a hurry you do mistakes and the calculation mistakes or any kind of mistake while solving puzzle you miss one step, one sentence, and or you misread it. So this kind of mistakes you'll have to like check, and try not to do this. It's okay if you take around a minute or so. But what you should avoid is don't be in a hurry that you have to solve it within the time limit only. Yeah, you have to do it, but also you have to make sure that you are not making such mistakes, silly mistakes while like solving any question. So this in this way you can increase your accuracy. Also, there are other ways like you have to focus on like which question to solve, which question to leave. If you are solving some question which is not to be solved in the initial rounds, that question will obviously get like it will be not right. So you have to also keep a track of it, that what you are solving. Yeah. If anyone wants to add anything else.
Okay, so um, one point I would like to add here is that in some kind of questions like reasoning question, critical reasoning question, accuracy तो low होना chances है because they are quite fluctuate. हर time तुम्हारा answer on the spot रहना difficult रहता है in critical reasoning, और there can be other topics according to your comfort level. But कैसे topics रहते हैं like syllogisms हो गए और maybe like arithmetical questions हो गए. So in those questions, the underlying, the way you solve the question, the formulas and the structure, it's quite straightforward. और वो काफी differ नहीं करेगा the way you input the formulas and give the answers, right? So वो cases में तुम्हारा accuracy अगर कम accuracy बहुत कम आ रहा है, so that's where the problem lies. Not कि तुम्हारा अगर accuracy कोई ऐसे section में कम आ रहा है जहाँ की obvious accuracy कम होना expected है. सो ट्राई टू सी एक्यूरेसी कम एग्जैक्टली कौन से एरिया में है.
Yeah, I think that covers most of the part of it. So maybe we can go to the next question. So I think Aniket is asking that he has prepared for SNAP, and what how should he proceed with the CET preparation. So see, Aniket, I think the last SNAP attempt is around January. So maybe if you are prepared well for SNAP and you are familiar with the basics, so maybe giving mock would be the one strategy that you can go with. So start giving mocks and see how you're doing. And you are saying that you have done fonts since from last 1.5 months. I think your basics must be very good as in last 1.5 months. So maybe you should start giving mocks and judge your performance according to your mock score. So because mocks is very crucial part of the CET, so maybe that way you can judge your preparation so far. So yeah.
As someone is asking, without touching cons and RC, got 42 marks out of 82 attempts. Is it possible to achieve 130? If yes, what should be the approach? See, you might get marks right now if you are not solving, if you are skipping any particular topic or section. But what I would suggest that also we always suggest that don't skip any particular section because you don't know what will happen in the exam. You might get a quant heavy paper or a verbal heavy paper. So you never know what the paper is going to be. So right now, thinking of skipping any section topic is not a good approach that I would say. You will have to be good, if not best, at least you have to be good in each of the section. You should be like attaining a minimum score of whatever the target your target is. Let's say in cons, you should be targeting 35, same in verbal. So these targets needs to be met because you can't skip any section and score the target marks that you will want and you'll get into JP through it. So that is something that I will not suggest. Yeah, that's it. If anyone wants to add anything.
I guess that covers everything. Someone has asked verbal ability के लिए कुछ बताइए. So I guess verbal ability comprises of RCs, grammars, vocab, idioms and phrases, then parajumbles. So these are the 5, 6 topics which uh, comprises in verbal ability. So for RC, what the trend I have seen in the past 3 years is typically there are 2 to 3 RCs depending upon the slots. So ideally for one RC, for example, there are 8 questions. Then ideally one must not spend more than 8 minutes on solving that RC. And out of the 3 RCs, one RC will be tough, in which the language will be difficult to comprehend. So ideally a student must skip that kind of RC and the other 2 RCs, which will be easy and medium kind of RCs that must be attempted in the exam. For the vocabs, generally there are straightforward questions like synonyms, antonyms. You will be given a word and you will be asked to find the synonym of that word from the 4 options. So for that, what you can do is ideally go to a banking channel's Telegram account, and from there you can download a 500 words most repeated vocabulary PDF. And if you mug up that PDF of those 500 words, then I guess your vocab part will be also sorted. For grammars, I believe it is too late if you have not started the grammars right now, because there are many grammar rules. I guess 120 rules of grammars. There is a series made by Nimisa Pansal, but it is really difficult to cover that portion right now. So usually, what I have seen the trend in CET, the grammar questions are very easy. They are not that much rule based, so one can be able to crack those questions. Even without not preparing that much, not putting that much efforts. Apart from that, parajammals and all, you have to find a way. For example, there will be sentences which might be connected to each other. So if you are able to identify those connecting sentences, and then you can eliminate options, and based upon eliminating options, the few options that will be left, you can then do the permutation and combination and solve the parajammal parts. And apart from that, I guess that's in a nutshell. If someone wants to approach verbal ability, that will be my suggestions.
Yeah, I think Jayesh, you covered pretty much of it. I just want to add one point that most of the questions, if you are not going to directly prepare from any material, you can go through sectional, go through sectional, solving different sectionals and solving different mocks, like what kind of questions you have previously seen, through the mocks and the sections. And if let's say if you have a vocab question in front of you and you don't get the right answer, maybe you get the wrong answer, and you just don't learn the one understanding for that particular word. You just understand what no meaning and synonyms, antonyms for other words as well for that particular question. So in one question, you can find different meaning for of different contexts. So it's not like you should keep limited to different kind of resources. Maybe sectionals can give you wide variety of verbal questions and ideas about how you can improve your vocab and grammar aspects.
हर्ष इज आस्किंग मॉक में 115 आ रहा है, सीईटी का लेवल इससे कम होगा क्या? So yeah, Harsh, this is not a right question, I would say. You will have to be specific on like which mock score and which paper pattern. So there are many other factors that are there. And also, instead of like looking at the score, I would say that you should look at your rank, whichever rank you are scoring. I'll suggest everyone to target being in the top 10 or 15 ranks. So that is a good benchmark that you can keep instead of looking at the score. Yeah.
Yeah, so Roshan is asking that getting tired in between mocks. So, see, I think maybe there are some factors that you should focus on in the last few days of CT, that you should not exhaust yourself with too much attempts of mocks, obviously. So, see, I think personally, I used to give 1 or 2 mocks every day in the last 1 month or so, but it depends on every individual on what the exhaustion level of him or her is. So gauge that by giving 1 mock each day, see if you are getting exhausted, and prepare your strategy according to that. Even if you are giving 1 mock every alternate day, or 1 mock every day, or 2 mocks every day, if you are getting a good score, that's what matters in the end. So see, taking care of health is equally important in the last few days of CT, because uh, it really matters how your health is on the D day. So that will really affect your score on the D day itself. So yeah, I think your health should be your priority in the last few days of the CT.
Uh, काफी questions are on the line कि if JBIMS is possible, 17 days are remaining on those lines. So here I would say कि इतना ऐसा it's the function of what kind of rank you are getting, as Shubham mentioned. So you should rather focus on what kind of inputs you are giving. So ऐसा नहीं है कि यार तुम्हारा अभी जो स्कोर है that's going to be extrapolated, is the right indicator of what you are going to get into the final examination. सो जितना हो सके यू हैव टू सी कि तुम्हारे हर मॉक्स के ऊपर कितना कंट्रोल आ रहा है एंड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ इनसाइट्स यू कैन गेट फ्रॉम दोज मॉक्स। एक जितना इंप्रूवमेंट्स तुम्हारा होता जाएगा विद इन नेक्स्ट 10 15 17 डेज और वट एवर, इट्स टोटली फाइन। जो तुम्हारा ग्रोथ हो रहा है दैट ग्रोइंग पार्ट इज इंपॉर्टेंट, कि तुम्हारा हर मॉक में से थोड़े इंसाइट्स आ रहे हैं, यू कैन पिन पॉइंट कि हाँ ये एस्पेक्ट्स मेरे वीक है, आई कैन सॉल्व दिस काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस इन XYZ days, maybe 2 3 days you can give like for the geometry or other questions, maybe you feel weak in those sections, and the improvements you have to focus on। ये ऐसा deliberation करने का I don't think it's going to be worthwhile in this time।
So someone is asking, will exam get postponed? What do you think? Arey, I'll say that why are you focusing on what's not in your control? Why don't you focus on what's in your control? So rather than thinking, yeah, exam postponed hoga ki nahi, think that you have only like less than 20 days, 17 days you have. So think of that exam is on the 9th or 8th or 9th of March and prepare accordingly. If you get more time, it's good for you. If you don't get more time, then you will have to give the exam, right? So instead of like, don't think that about the things that are not in your control. So this is the one thing I will suggest everyone. You have them your mocks in your control. You have what score you will get, what how much you can practice, that is in your control. So work on those things.
So, Aditya is asking right strategy to attempt the paper. See, Aditya, I think right strategy for at least jumbled paper should be, or even the sectional paper should be, the question selection is a very key part of your mock attempting strategy, or even on the D-Day. So you should be familiar with what are the topics that you are comfortable with, that are easy to you, or that take less time of you to solve, and which are the topics that you are not good with or you're not comfortable with in solving in this in the mock. So the key here is you should identify these topics and solve the easy topics in the majority of your mock, and then come on to the difficult questions to solve them, because ultimately it matters that how much marks you are getting in the end. It doesn't matter if you are getting marks from difficult question or easy question. The ultimate goal should be to maximize your marks, and the only way to maximize your marks is to play on your strengths. So identify your strengths in the remaining 17 days that are left. Focus on them, how you can get better with them. Also focus on the difficult parts also, that how you can improve on them with the practice. So I think the strategy as such for the mock should be identification of easy questions and doing them as fast as you can, and then jumping on the difficult questions and tackle them. Uh, Rohit Savalkar is asking that what score should I target for 99.60? See, I think Shubham has covered that point in the previous section of the session too, but I think there is no definite score that is with respect to any percentile as per se, because there is equi-percentile method at least till the last year of the CET. So you really don't know what score you are getting and what percentile you are getting. It totally depends on how other people in your section or your slots are doing. So I think you should really focus on what rank you are getting in your slot or in any in your mock, and that will result into your high percentile. So I don't think you should focus on any score. It really depends on how difficult is the mock, or what is the actual difficulty of the mock is. So I don't think focusing on the percentile versus score is very much beneficial in the last few days.
I would like to emphasize on analysis part of the mocks. Like someone here asked, ki I gave some mocks and I did not analyze those properly. So actually, the mock का purpose क्या है कि if you are giving a mock, you should be तुम्हारा खुद का abilities क्या है, that idea you get from after giving the mock. So if you don't analyze it, the actual कुछ benefit नहीं मिल रहा है तुम्हें, ठीक है? सो ट्राई टू, जब जहां तक तुमने लास्ट 5 to 6 मार्क्स दैट यू आर गिवन ना, ट्राई टू एनालाइज दोस्त, कहाँ पे तुम्हारे पिटफॉल्स है, कहाँ पे तुम्हारे इश्यूज मतलब बैठे हुए हैं, व्हाट एरियाज यू कैन इम्प्रूव, एक ओवरव्यू एटलीस्ट यू कैन एटलीस्ट invest some time, like 2.5 hours का mock हो गया, maybe similar amount of time you can also invest in analyzing the mock. आइडेंटिफाई कि व्हाट काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस यू डिड रॉन्ग, कहाँ पे तुमने टाइम ज्यादा यूज किया, कुछ इजी सिटर्स क्वेश्चन थे दैट यू कुड हैव सॉल्व बट यू स्किप्ड। तो ये जो छोटे छोटे इश्यूज है, मे बी द आइडियल वे ऑफ अप्रोचिंग द मॉक, वो तुम्हें एक इमेजिन करना है कि तुमने मॉक दिया, वहां पे तुम्हारा थॉट प्रोसेस क्या था एंड व्हाट कुड हैव यू कुड हैव डन डिफरेंटली। तो एक एनालिसिस करो दैट यू कैन यूज इन योर नेक्स्ट अटेम्प्ट। तो एक ऐसे इंप्रूवमेंट करने का साइकिल इनकॉर्पोरेट करो, दैट आई वुड सजेस्ट।
Manish is
Someone is
asking.
asking,
Yeah,
hmm,
Josh, go ahead. Go.
so someone is asking how to, I'm not able to solve DI, please help. Uh, so for DI, what I believe is how good are you with your fractions. For example, if you have memorized कि 1/2 का फ्रैक्शन 50% होता है, 1/3 का 33.83%, तो ऐसे 1/16 तक अगर तुमने मेमोराइज किया तो डीआई हो जाते हैं सॉल्व। एंड डीआई में यूजली 4-5 सेट्स आते हैं, उसमें केसलेट होगा और बाद में पाई चार्ट, बार ग्राफ, तो हर एक जो टाइप्स है उसको आपको सॉल्व करने आना चाहिए। पाई चार्ट हो गया, बार ग्राफ हो गया, लाइन ग्राफ हो गया। तो यूजली तो डीआई काफी स्कोरिंग होता है अनलेस एंड अनटिल काफी डिफिकल्ट नंबर्स अगर उसके अंदर यूज हो रहे हैं, तो रादर देन फाइंडिंग द एक्यूरेट आंसर, यू मस्ट बी एबल टू मतलब एक गेस करने आना चाहिए। फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर किसी ने ऐसा नंबर डाला है 15,896 एंड यू हैव बीन आस्क्ड टू कैलकुलेट लेट्स सपोज 20%, तो उस केस में एक रफ एस्टिमेट ले लो कि 15,896 है तो 15,800 मान लो, और उसका 20% निकाल लो, रादर देन बुक जो एग्जैक्ट नंबर है उसका 20% निकालने से। तो ऐसे मतलब थोड़े बहुत मतलब थोड़े पूरा एग्जैक्ट नंबर यूज करने के अलावा थोड़ा राउंड ऑफ करके आप वो कैलकुलेशन को आसान कर सकते हो। तो डीआईएस में वही देखो कि अगर आप राउंड ऑफ करके वो सेम आंसर पे रीच कर पाओगे कि नहीं। और एक ऐसा क्वेश्चन है कि अगर बैंकिंग लेवल का प्री लेवल के पजल्स किए तो वो इनफ होंगे क्या सीटी में। तो सीटी में रफली 5 to 6 पजल्स आते हैं। तो एक पजल तो डिफिकल्ट रहता है काफी। मैं पर्सनली ब्लड रिलेशन प्लस सर्कुलर वाला पजल कभी अटेंड नहीं करता था, क्योंकि वो काफी टायरिंग मुझे लगता था और वो काफी मुझे डिफिकल्ट लगता था। एंड देन दो पजल इजी आप बोल सकते हो, इजी मीडियम इजी लेवल का होगा, और एक दो पजल मीडियम लेवल के होंगे। तो जो प्री लेवल के बैंकिंग पजल रहते हैं वो काफी इजी लेवल वाले रहते हैं। नंबर ऑफ वेरिएबल्स उसके अंदर 12 होंगे, 6 to 12 के 8 to 12 के बीच में। और जो मीडियम लेवल के पजल्स होते हैं वो नंबर ऑफ वेरिएबल्स उसके अंदर 16 to 20 के रेंज में होते हैं। तो प्री लेवल से तो आई गेस दो ही पजल कर पाओगे, लेकिन अगर आपको अच्छा करना है तो थोड़े मेंस लेवल के भी पजल करोगे तो वो बेनिफिशियल होगा।
So, like, I would like to add on Jay's point here. So, like Jay said कि वो blood relation plus circular वाले puzzle नहीं करता था. So, what's important here in your attempt strategy that you should identify the areas where you are historically weaker in. So, because it doesn't make sense to attempt something that you're historically weak in to attempt that in CET as well, or even in the mocks going forward. Definitely, you can improve it, but at least you should avoid that in the first phase or majority phase of the mock, or even in the CET. So, if you see that the circular plus blood relation, for example, puzzle is easy, so you are आपको लग रहा है कि वो थोड़ा इजी है, बट कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि जब आप 2-3 मिनट सॉल्व करते हो वो पजल, उसके बाद पता चलता है कि नो इट्स डिफिकल्ट एंड योर 2-3 minutes आर वेस्टेड नाउ. So that's why you should have some rigidity in your attempt that you are not good. I am not good with few topics, so it's better that I avoid those topics entirely for the majority of the times and then come on to it if I have the time. Yeah, so I think that's what I wanted to add.
और पजल्स और डीआई के केस में और एनी टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन वेयर क्लस्टर, कुछ क्वेश्चंस का क्लस्टर रहता है, मे बी लाइक आरसीज और वहां पे कुछ मे बी लाइक 1 or 2 क्वेश्चंस क्या यू कैन सॉल्व, कंप्लीटली सॉल्व नहीं होते वो। मे बी यू कैन जस्ट सीधे ऑब्जर्व सम वैल्यूज हियर एंड देयर, मे बी सम लिमिटेड कंप्यूटेशन कुड बी देयर। तो वो बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं रहते। लेट्स से यू हैव वन डीआई सेट इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू, मे बी नॉट एवरी क्वेश्चन कुड बी सॉल्वेबल। एक या दो क्वेश्चन सीधा कुछ रेशियो निकालने का या सीधा कुछ मल्टीप्लाई करके वैल्यू निकालने का भी हो सकता है। सो मे बी जस्ट आइडेंटिफाई दैट क्वेश्चन इफ लाइक एकदम इमीडिएटली यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट क्वेश्चन, इंटरप्रेट दैट एंड कैलकुलेशन इजीली आ रहा है। सो डोंट बॉदर अबाउट कि मुझे पूरा डीआई सॉल्व करना है, जस्ट मार्क इट एंड मूव फॉरवर्ड। एंड जैसा जयेश ने बताया कि सम काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस some people might find it tough, like for example blood relations, he chose to not attend those questions because he felt कि वहां पे मेरा एक्यूरेसी या मैं वो टाइम कहीं और पे यूज कर सकता हूँ। बट इन माई केस आई हैड सम अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि मुझे एक सर्टन काइंड ऑफ डायग्राम ड्रॉ करना है, मे बी जो ब्लड रिलेशंस एक हायरार्की मेंटेन करने के लिए, और मैं वो इंटरप्रेट करके आई कुड मार्क दोज क्वेश्चंस। तो ब्लड रिलेशन आई पर्सनली डिड नॉट अवॉइड दोज क्वेश्चन। तो हर एक का प्रेफरेंस अलग हो सकता है, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चन दे वांट टू अटेंड, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चन दे वांट टू अवॉइड।
Yeah, I think Bhutvesh has very good question. So he's saying I attempt a mock first 1.5 hours. My speed is very good, and when level two questions are remaining, my speed is half as earlier. So I think it's quite natural that your speed will drop in the level two questions. That obvious. But my advice would be to get better with those questions. What I would suggest you is that search for banking questions that are there on the, I think Facebook app is really good. So on that app you will get a lot of material to solve apart from the sectionals and apart from the topic wise test that you have with entirely regards to CET. So the more material you will solve about the level two questions, I think more comfortable you will get with them. So for the remaining 17 days that are there, I think your main strategy should be to get better with those difficult or level two questions that are there to increase your score and accuracy as well. So you have to be really rigorous with your practice while practicing those difficult level or level 2 questions as per your comment. So yeah, I think that will really help you improve your score further.
So someone is asking, did any one of you were preparing while working full time? How to manage preparation in last days? So लास्ट डेज में तो मैं वही बोलूंगा कि रिवीजन पे ज़्यादा फोकस करो, क्योंकि जब मैं मेरा फाइनल अटेम्प्ट दे रहा था लास्ट ईयर, तो मैंने तो मतलब सिर्फ रिवाइज ही किए थे मेरे जो कॉन्सेप्ट जो जो मैंने बुक बनाई थी। फॉर एग्जांपल जो कॉन्स के मैंने बुक बनाई थी, तो मैंने जितने भी क्वेश्चंस उस बुक में लिखे थे वो मैंने फिर से सॉल्व किए। तो लास्ट के डेज में रिवीजन मैटर करता है। एंड अगर आपका जो भी टाइम स्लॉट है उसमें आप मॉक देना स्टार्ट करो। और अगर आप कोई और भी एक्स्ट्रा टॉपिक्स है जो इजी वाले हैं, जैसे कि क्लॉक्स एंड कैलेंडर्स वाले टॉपिक को इतना टाइम लगता नहीं है, लेकिन अगर आपको प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस और सिंपल इंटरेस्ट, कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट, ये जो एरिथमेटिक वाले टॉपिक्स है, अगर ये कवर करने हैं तो ये पॉसिबल नहीं है ये लास्ट 15 डेज में करना। तो जो इजी टॉपिक्स है क्लॉक्स एंड कैलेंडर्स वाले, एब्स्ट्रैक्ट रीजनिंग में अगर आपके मार्क्स नहीं बन रहे तो उसको करो। वोकैब में अगर आपके मार्क्स नहीं बन रहे, एक्यूरेसी नहीं आ रही, तो वोकैब पे फोकस करो। आरसीज में अगर आपके नहीं कर पा रहे हो तो टफ लेवल वाले आरसीज करो। जीमैट लेवल के जो आरसीज रहते हैं उसको प्रैक्टिस करो। तो जीमैट वाले अगर आप आरसीज को पढ़ोगे तो आपका ब्रेन जो इजी वाले आरसीज है उसको सॉल्व करना आसानी से सॉल्व करना स्टार्ट करेगा। डीआईएस भी एक स्कोरिंग टॉपिक है, तो डीआई पे फोकस करो। देन जो नॉन नॉन रीजनिंग वाले टॉपिक्स है, जैसे कि इनपुट आउटपुट हो गया, कोडिंग डिकोडिंग हो गया, जो भी पजल्स के अलावा जो रीजनिंग के टॉपिक्स है वो उस पे फोकस करो। अगर आपने वो अभी तक किए नहीं है तो वो करने चाहिए, क्योंकि वो एक स्कोरिंग एरिया है। तो ऐसे जो इजी कम एफर्ट्स में डाल के आप ज़्यादा स्कोर कर सकते हो, ऐसे टॉपिक्स पे ये टाइम पे फोकस करो और रिवीजन करो, क्योंकि ये फेज में रिवीजन इंपॉर्टेंट है। जो भी आपने पढ़ा है अगर आपका रिवाइज नहीं करोगे तो वो यूजफुल होगा नहीं। तो दिस विल बी माय की टेकअवेज।
I think Kylian Mbappe is asking, so I think we should really focus on football as of now. But jokes apart, how have you prepared in your last 20 days while studying in Simsri? So yeah, so it was really hectic, I would say, because it's really difficult to manage MBA with uh, the MBA CET preparation as per se. So what I did was I was really focused on mocks because fortunately I was getting good score in the January itself. So for January, February, and most of the part of March, I was focused on the mocks. Uh, I used to analyze the mocks after giving the mocks. I was analyzing where I went wrong, where I was right, where I can improve in the next mock. As Jaydeep said, what you take from your today's mock to the next mock is very important. So that's how I improved on the score. The 510 marks that I improved on 140, from 145 to going to 155. So that's how I improved on my scores. And yeah, that's about it. So I really focused on mocks in my last 20 days while I was in SimStreet.
Someone is asking like which mocks are better? Is it C taking or MS or test one bar? See, whatever score you are scoring, again, I'll say that let it be any mock. All the mocks are good. There is nothing like it's a bad mock or anything like that. What you have to focus is that you have to come in the top 10, as I had said earlier. Your primary target should be like score, not your score, but your rank. So focus on your rank and whichever mock you give, if you are in the top 10 or 15, uh, preferably top 10, it should be good for you. So yeah, that is the thing.
Uh, Yeah, I think thanks, Shubham. Imani Agarwal has a really good question. So, facing difficulty in solving puzzles, what strategy should I apply? So again, Imani, so I think the your main focus should be if you have taken few mocks before this, तो आपको आइडिया आ गया होगा कि आप कौन से टाइप के पजल्स में बेटर हो और कौन से टाइप के पजल्स में नहीं हो। तो आपको रियली उसके साथ स्टिक करना पड़ेगा कि जब आप नेक्स्ट मॉक दोगे या सीईटी दोगे तो आपको वही टाइप के पजल्स पिक करने जिसमें आप हिस्टोरिकली अच्छे हो। तब तक ऐसे टाइप का पजल करके मतलब कोई पिक करके मतलब नहीं जिसमें आप हिस्टोरिकली वीक हो, क्योंकि वो बैकफायर कर सकता है एंड मोस्ट प्रोबेबली वो करेगा। सो आई थिंक टू प्रैक्टिस एंड टू गेट गुड विथ पजल्स, आई थिंक यू शुड पिक 5 to 10 puzzles daily, and solve that with the timer. So because जब विदाउट टाइमर कुछ चीज सॉल्व करते हुए, एटलीस्ट विद रिगार्ड्स टू सीईटी, आपके वो टाइम प्रेशर नहीं होता। तो वो जो एक एडेड प्रेशर में आप सॉल्व करने का जो प्रैक्टिस होता है आपको नहीं मिलता। सो आई वुड से कि 5, 10 या 15 जो वट एवर सूट्स यू, आप पजल पिक करो और वो सब टाइप के पजल्स आप एक गो में 5-5 करके सॉल्व करते जाओ, तो आप पजल्स का एक प्रॉपर सेक्शन सॉल्व करने में आप बेटर हो जाओगे उसके साथ। सो आई वुड से प्रैक्टिस अगेन इज द की फॉर इट।
One question I'm repeatedly seeing here is what kind of mocks we should appear for. Like Shubham already answered this question, but I want to say here that कि कोई particular mock ऐसा अच्छा है बुरा है वैसा सीन नहीं है. Most of the cases में what kind of people that are appearing for the mock is what matters. तुम्हारा एक on relative basis पे competency क्या है that you have to see. Like before couple of years, like Anay and Harsh from TTP, like they were also part of the IMS and they also used to give mocks from IMS. अभी personally I was using test funda mocks. तो ऐसा नहीं कि these kind of mocks are particularly suitable or some other mock is not. तो maybe try what kind of peers you are getting, competitiveness you are getting for a particular mock. अभी IMX के मॉक्स में तुम्हारा स्कोर नीचे आ रहा है बिकॉज दोज काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस आर क्वाइट डिफिकल्ट टू सॉल्व, उनका लेवल ही वैसा रहता है. बट इफ यू आर गेटिंग गुड रैंक इन दोज मॉक्स इट्स नॉट लाइक अ बैड डील. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई मॉक्स यू नीड टू प्रीफर वन ओवर अनदर. ट्राई टू बी कि हर मॉक में से इम्प्रूवमेंट्स कैसे निकाला जाए एनी मॉक यू गिव.
So the point of mock is to not it is not to score. So it is just to uh, make you aware of what the situation can be. So if like many of us would like remember that there was exam CT exam in 2022. So the slot 2 or 3, I guess, those were the difficult ones. So those are so difficult that they were cat level. So all those who had given IMS mocks were they might have been in a better position because they had already seen those kind of scenarios. They had seen what a difficulty when a difficulty is high, what should be their strategy. So solving mocks is more of a strategy making process rather than scoring. So you have to build that strategy. So don't focus on like how difficult the exam is or not. Focus on what are you doing in those 150 minutes and how are you approaching each and every question. So that should be your target.
uh Thanks, Shom. So Chetan has a good question. So instead of taking strategy like 30-40, 20, yeah, for 25-40, can I get a good score using ABC strategy? So my opinion on ABC strategy as well as the 30-40 strategy is that you should go with strategy that you are more comfortable with. Personally, I was more comfortable with the 2-round strategy. So I used to attempt all the easy questions that were easy for me. So I had made a list of the questions that was really easy for me, that used to take less time, and I used to get a good rhythm in solving those questions. So I used to I made a list of all those type of questions. I prepared a list. I think it was around 130 to 140 questions that I was really good with. I used to solve those questions in minimum amount of time. So that used to be yeah, that used to be my goal. So I used to try to solve those questions, 130 questions around in 90 minutes. So my remaining amount of time, like 60 minutes, used to go for remaining 60 questions, or uh yeah. So that used to be my strategy. So what happens in 30 to 30 minutes 40 question strategy is that as the clock approaches 25 or 28 minutes, let's say, you get conscious of time and your performance gets reduced. So that's what used to happen with me. So I really focused on not getting pressurized with regards to time, and CET really tests you with your time stress and your stress management. So I would really suggest you that remove that timer aspect as much as you can and focus on getting maximum possible output in your mock strategy.
I think we can wrap up the session here. Like most of the questions we have answered. If any closing thoughts anyone can have.
Yeah, I think to close, I would say for the remaining 17 days, what you can do is really focus on getting good in your weaker areas. So really focus on that. So the only way to do that is rigorous practice. So just to give an example, like I just said, the focus should be more on mocks, more on practice. The more you practice, the more you will get better with the all your weaker areas. Even in the stronger areas, you will reduce your timing of your attempt. So all these things seem very simple, but they take a lot of amount of your time and your efforts. So don't be hesitant to give a really good try or your best efforts, because ultimately it really pays off when you join institute like JBIMS. So I would say give your best in remaining 17 days, and you will really feel good after the result. Yeah.
एक सिर्फ एक क्वेश्चन है, ज्योमेट्री मेंसुरेशन अभी पढ़ना चाहिए क्या नहीं? तो मेंसुरेशन के जो फॉर्मूलाज है, जो भी वॉल्यूम वाले हैं, तो वो एटलीस्ट कर लो, क्योंकि कभी कभी मेंसुरेशन के क्वेश्चंस एकदम सेट फॉरवर्ड होते हैं। कभी कभी तुम लोग को वॉल्यूम ऑफ क्यूब निकालने को बोल दे, तो जो फॉर्मूलाज है स्ट्रेट अवे वो आपको करने चाहिए। और ज्योमेट्री आई गेस काफी वास्ट टॉपिक है, तो आई डोंट रिकमेंड कि किसी को ज्योमेट्री करना चाहिए। ये लास्ट 15 डेज में अभी मैटर करता है कि आपकी स्ट्रेटेजीज फिक्स होनी चाहिए। अगर आप जंबल पेपर अटेम्प्ट करने वाले हैं, तो उसके लिए क्या स्ट्रेटेजी होने वाला है, और अगर सेक्शनल वाला पेपर अटेम्प्ट करने वाले हैं, तो उसके लिए क्या आपका स्ट्रेटेजी होने वाला है। फॉर एग्जांपल, आप जैसे मेरा रहता था जंबल पेपर, सॉरी, सेक्शनल पेपर के लिए आई यूज्ड टू स्टार्ट विद एब्स्ट्रैक्ट। आई यूज्ड टू गिव 12 to 15 minutes फॉर एब्स्ट्रैक्ट, and I will used to start with verbability. For that I used to give 30 to 35 minutes. Then I used to solve cons के easy वाले questions, and उसके लिए मैं around 15-20 minutes देता था। then मैं रीजनिंग के नॉन पजल्स वाले पार्ट करता था, एंड देन फिर से बाकी के कॉन्स और लास्ट में पजल्स के लिए 25 मिनट्स देता था। वैसे आपकी स्ट्रेटेजी फिक्स होनी चाहिए। जरूरी नहीं है कि हर किसी को एब्स्ट्रैक्ट से ही स्टार्ट करना चाहिए, कोई वर्बल से भी स्टार्ट कर सकता है। तो वो आपको परम्यूटेशन कॉम्बिनेशन करके अभी तक फिगर आउट हो जाना चाहिए कि आपकी स्ट्रेटेजी होने वाली है। जंबल पेपर के लिए जैसे प्रसाद ने कहा कि 30 राउंड रॉबिन वाली स्ट्रेटेजी काफ़ी इफेक्टिव रहती है। और सीईटी में काफ़ी मैटर करता है कि कौन सा क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करना है, कौन सा नहीं करना है। कभी कभी कैसे होता है कि कुछ क्वेश्चन हमें लगता है कि हम सॉल्व कर सकते हैं, बट जब हम उसे सॉल्व करने की अटेम्प्ट करने की कोशिश करते हैं, तो बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम उसके अंदर कंज्यूम हो जाता है। तो इसके लिए प्रैक्टिस अगर आप जितना करोगे, और प्रैक्टिस करो डिफिकल्ट लेवल वाले क्वेश्चन अभी, क्योंकि इजी वाले क्वेश्चन तो स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड पता चल जाते हैं कि ये सॉल्व होगा नहीं होगा। जो डिफिकल्ट वाले क्वेश्चन रहते हैं वो गेज करना थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट होता है कि ये सॉल्व कर सकते हैं कि नहीं। तो जो मीडियम और डिफिकल्टी लेवल वाले क्वेश्चन है एक टॉपिक के, वो अटेम्प्ट करना स्टार्ट करो, जिससे कि आपका वो गेज करना आसान हो जाए।
आई थिंक जयेश ने काफी अच्छे इनपुट्स दिए विद रिस्पेक्ट टू हाउ टू अटेम्प्ट मॉक स्ट्रेटजी। आई थिंक लास्ट 15 डेज में द वे मोर एज यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि तुम्हारा ये अभी एंड्योरेंस का टेस्ट है। द वॉट एवर प्रिपरेशन यू हैव डन सो फार, अभी तुम्हें वो खाली सॉलिडिफाई करना है नेक्स्ट 15 डेज। सो फोकस ऑन योर हेल्थ एंड योर मेंटल हेल्थ मोस्ट ऑब्वियसली, बिकॉज तुम्हारा जो 2.5 आवर्स होगा, इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू डिसाइड एवरीथिंग फॉर यू। थोड़ा टाइम तुम्हें खुद पे भी ध्यान देना है, एंड यू हैव टू बी काम कि तुम्हें अभी एक 15 डेज एक काम वे में मैनेज करना है। सो आई थिंक वी कैन क्लोज अवर सेशन हियर। थैंक यू everyone for joining. You can just comment your thoughts here, and if any questions you have, you can comment those as well. So I think we can quit. All right, I'm ending.